Hello, on today's menu is Parmesan crusted chicken and broccoli and spinach with cream sauce. So over here are the ingredients that we're using. This is olive oil, and it's for grilling and sauteing. Okay, it's not the virgin olive oil, it's the regular olive oil. Here is our cream. I'm using the heavy whipping cream. Okay, it's important that whatever cream you use has no sugar in it. Okay, this is our almond meal. It's available for me locally, and you can get it on the internet, but basically it's just almonds that go into a food processor or like a bullet type blender, and you just blend them until they're in a dust. And this is to be used instead of breadcrumbs. Okay, here's our broccoli florets, chicken, egg, Parmesan cheese, sea salt, some black pepper, and butter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make the spinach first. So in our pan, in our saute pan here, we have 2 tablespoons of butter, a little bit of minced garlic, and I'm going to pour in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, just an estimate. Okay, and we're going to let this don't want to burn it. Give it a couple seconds here. Now I'm going to crack some of the pepper into it. And a little bit of sea salt, not too much. Very little is actually coming out there. And once we get the butter all melted, we're ready to put in the spinach. So we're going to put in about a half a bag of spinach. Okay, so it's about a half a pound. And we're going to saute this for a couple of minutes. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and this is an all metal pan without a lid. And what I'm actually going to do is put it in as soon as it's all thawed out and cooking nicely, and we're going to finish by baking it. That's the way we cook a whole lot, is to sear things and then bake them until they're finished. We'll do that with the chicken also. So, this is almost ready right here. Okay. So this is the bowl we're going to be using for our breading for our chicken, so we may as well get started on that while we're waiting. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Parmesan cheese in, and then I'm going to put probably 3 parts almond meal to 1 part Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. And while we're at it, we're going to put a little bit of pepper in it. And a little bit of salt. Now a lot of people, they tend to put way too much salt in. This is actually very little salt. Okay. And we stir this up. Okay, so now it's ready for our chicken to go in. And this is a lot tastier than just a standard breadcrumb, and it's better for us. Very important on the Acu diet that we don't have any extra bread or anything that's got secret sugar in it. Okay, so this is now ready to go into the oven. So now you have to remember, when you take it out of the oven, you need a pot holder because it's going to be very hot. So it's in the oven at 350 degrees. Turn this off, and next we'll get the chicken ready. Okay, now we're ready to get started with the chicken. And the first thing we have to do with chicken is make sure first we're going to clean our hands. And most people don't understand when you wash your hands, the soap should be in contact for about 16 seconds before you rinse it off. So I just say my ABCs, and by the time I get to P, then we're at enough time. But this is enough time. You don't need to listen to my ABCs, I don't think. So we'll just go ahead and wash this off. Now the next thing we're going to do, before we do anything else, is we're going to put some soap down where it's easy for us to get to when our hands are contaminated, so we don't spread soap around the whole, spread raw chicken around. Okay, so now I'm going to take a knife. I'm going to be very careful I don't slice my finger here. Open this up. Okay, and then I am going to, now my hands, I can't use my fingertips, but I can do this, and I'm going to run cold water in. And then I'm going to go ahead, rinse it off, and then I'm going to grab the piece of chicken, and again, I can't use my fingertips, but I can use my wrist. And I'm going to rinse this off really well. Okay. I'm going to put it down on a designated plate, and I'm going to be cleaning the whole sink area when we're done to ensure that there's no contamination, so you don't cross-contaminate. Something that's very important in a professional kitchen. They have things set up with trays, stainless steel trays, work areas, and they're constantly avoiding the cross-contamination. So now I'm going to throw this out. Okay, again, I can't touch it with my hands. I'm going to throw this out into the garbage. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to make sure that everything that I touched has some soap on it. And that way the kitchen is not going to be contaminated. A lot of foods are better when they're in the raw state, and there's no way that we can avoid the contamination without keeping the kitchen clean. So then I'm going to take some paper towels and I'm going to dry this chicken off like this. I'm going to take another paper towel, okay, and I haven't touched anything, touched the chicken, and I'm going to make sure it's good and dry. After it's good and dry, then it's going to be ready for breading. Okay, so I've transferred our chicken onto a cutting board, and the idea with the chicken is that some of it's very thick and some of it's very thin, so you want to try to make sure that it's all pretty close to the same thickness. And sometimes it's easier if you just cut a piece in half like this, because this is all about the same thickness, and then this is all about the same thickness. But I'm going to cut a little bit on an angle like this, just to spread it out so that it's easier to cook the middle. So again, this piece here by itself is all about the same thickness, so it's ready to go. And this piece all by itself is about the same thickness, so we don't need to do really anything with it. Okay, now I have to go over and clean my hands with the soap. And now we're ready to put some olive oil in. This pan has been preheating. Okay, so pour some olive oil in, like this. Okay. So this is our mixture of our almonds and our Parmesan. And we flip it a couple times, make sure it's nicely evenly coated. Lay it down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do this piece too. Whenever possible, I use a technique where one hand is not contaminated by the chicken and the other is. Spread the oil out here a little bit because most stoves are not perfectly level. There we go. We're going to let that go ahead and cook for a few minutes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip the chicken. And the whole idea here is that the chicken's not cooked all the way. It's partially cooked. And then we're going to put it in the oven to bake it. We're going to give this another couple of minutes frying, and then we're going to put it in the oven. Okay, so this has been frying for about 5 minutes on each side. And now we're just going to go ahead and put it into the oven, which is again preheated at 350 degrees. And we're going to let this cook for about another 15 minutes, and then it'll be done. Okay, we're going to make our cream sauce, which is a good fettuccine sauce, which is great on noodles for the family if they want to have some noodles with dinner. You don't need to. You can have the chicken and the vegetables, and they can have the chicken, the vegetables, and the noodles. To start off the sauce, I put just a small amount, quarter cup maybe, of spinach into the pot. Okay, turn it on. Let it start cooking. Okay, need the egg and the butter. Okay, so now I'm going to crack our egg right here, and I'm going to take the yolk out. We're going to save the white for something else. And you can do it the fancy way where you go back and forth with the shell, but it's a lot easier to just grab it like this. And if you lose a little bit of it, it's okay. There you go. A little bit of it is not going to be a problem. And I'm going to be putting in some cream. Now it's important that when you're on the Acu diet, you don't use milk, because milk releases a lot of insulin. We don't want that. You want to make sure that this is a true cream sauce. So we'll go ahead and whip this up. Okay. We'll go ahead and get this in here. Put this in. Okay. Then we're going to crack in some black pepper. And we're going to turn the flame to low. We're going to let this simmer a little bit. Do not put salt in this because we're going to put cheese in it. And cheese has got plenty of salt. And we're going to wait till the very end, and then we're going to put some butter in also. And the reason we wait to put the butter in is so it doesn't clarify and turn into ghee and separate. And it's much nicer this way. So go ahead and save this for later. And then this is going to just simmer for a couple minutes, and it'll be done. Okay, about 10 minutes has passed. We're going to take a look at the chicken and make sure we don't overcook it. I said 15 minutes before because when chicken's thick, you got to make sure that it's cooked all the way. So this is almost actually done. You can tell by the clear fluid coming out, but it still needs another minute or two. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the spinach out and stir it. Get a stirring spoon. I hope this isn't coming out like the Blair Witch Project, me moving around so much. Okay, coming along very nicely. Needs another 5 minutes or so, and it'll be perfectly cooked. So put it back into the oven, and so we're going to pull the chicken out in 2 minutes, and we're going to pull the spinach out in 5, and then we'll be able to put it all together into a dinner. Okay, about 10 minutes has passed. We're going to take a look at the chicken and make sure we don't overcook it. I said 15 minutes before because when chicken's thick, you got to make sure that it's cooked all the way. So this is almost actually done. You can tell by the clear fluid coming out, but it still needs another minute or two. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the spinach out and stir it. Get a stirring spoon. I hope this isn't coming out like the Blair Witch Project, me moving around so much. Okay, coming along very nicely. Needs another 5 minutes or so, and it'll be perfectly cooked. So put it back into the oven, and so we're going to pull the chicken out in 2 minutes, and we're going to pull the spinach out in 5, and then we'll be able to put it all together into a dinner. Okay, a whole lot about being healthy is eating the correct portions of food and the healthy portions. And as Americans, we tend to eat way too much. We do everything large. If we take a look down here, I want to show you some plates. Okay, this plate was purchased around year 2000, and this plate was purchased at the same time. They're actually part of the set. And these plates were purchased in the mid-1960s I'm old enough to remember the time, and at the time most of the plates would chip and break very easily, and this is the new Corel livingware, and my brothers and sisters, we chipped in and bought them for my mom for Mother's Day. So these are the actual plates. Now this is the dinner plate from the 1960s, and if you look at the size of it, it's about 8.5 inches. Now the dinner plate from year 2000 is 11 inches. And the bread dish or the side dish plate is 8.25 inches. So it's almost the same size as our dinner plate. And the reason we tend to eat too much food is we fill up the big plate. And when you fill up the big plate, you're really overeating. And this is something that's new to us. It's not something that is supposed to be. This size plate is the size, if you look at China from the 18th or 19th century, this is as big as any of the plates will be, because that's a normal size serving.